Okay, so till last class, we have quickly created a data model, and that data model we have created. The data model is created through Query Builder, and from the data model we have created an RTF file by exporting that data model XML file. With the XML file, we have created a XML publisher report, and we have uploaded the XML publisher report back to the Fusion by creating the report. So it is a report. In this report, it is our data model and it is our layout basically. So we have created a layout. Sorry, that layout created using the BI publisher. BI publisher. So if you want to modify the layout, what you will do, click on edit, and automatically it will ask you to download the RTF file. Where the RTF file get downloaded. Once it get downloaded, you just go and open the RTF file and keep modifying the RTF file layout accordingly. So that's what we have done yesterday quickly. So that is one way of creating the report using BI publisher. There's other way. This time what we do, we'll again go here, and before creating a report, we have to create data model. We know that. And last time we have created data model using, we went to the data model and using the BI, in the query builder, we have created the data model. So what I will do now, I will quickly create another data model using some query. I will write down the query and create the data model. And on top of the data model, instead of going to the BI publisher plugin, I will create a report in the Fusion application itself, that is using the default report builder provided by the Fusion application. That's what I will do. Okay, so I will write down a query. So I have some queries already written actually. So I will take the existing query which I have. It will just give the employee number, name, and salary, department, like that. So I will say some query, some employees query, employees, and data source is HCM, and the standard SQL is standard SQL, and I'm writing down my query here. This is my query, so it's just a HR query. So I will just take out the parameters. Okay, I will take some parameter. Let us say it's a query basically. It's a query. So if write down the query based on your need, once you write down the query, then automatically you could able to see your data here. That's what it works. And few more, this is a doubt, is just give the employee number, hire date, first name, last name, email address, username, job code, location, like that. This is the information it is giving here. Okay, so let me cover some more properties of this BI data model. Basically, I was telling last time, event triggers and flex fields. These two things typically we won't use in SAS model, but we use remaining things in the SAS model. So what is this list of values? What are these parameters? Whenever you write any query, basically you can provide parameters to our data model. That typically works. So to create a, how do we give the parameters? So typically when the parameters is needed in our query, whenever we need to pass some value, then we need to create a parameter. So how do you pass a value to the query basically? How do you pass a value to the query? So what we can do, basically I have the hide date here. Sometimes this Mozilla browser causes problems. Yeah. So there's hide date here. So what I will do, I wanted to bring all the employees whose hide date is some greater than something like that. So what I will do, I will say that start date is greater than is equal to, I'll give some parameter. How do you give a parameter? To give parameter in the BI data model, typically you have to prefix that parameter name with column, and you can give any date actually. I will give the hire date, something like this. It means we are giving parameter to this. So once you save it, then it automatically, once you click on OK, it automatically identify this lexical value, and it says that, hey, there is one or more bind variables to create corresponding parameters. Do you want to add it as a parameter? Then you have to say, yes, I want to add it as a parameter. When you say add it as a parameter, automatically the navigation will go to this parameters link. If you click on OK, it will go to the parameters link, saying that we have to set some values to this parameter. It will say what is the parameter name and what type is this parameter. And we know we have different types, and now ours is dates. I want a date as a parameter. We want giving default value for this parameter, and parameter type is date. It will come by it will come based on the type, and again it will say type is of three ways. One is text. You can give it as a text. You can give it as a date. You can give it a menu. What is a menu? Menu is nothing but if you wanted to define a predefined list of values to the parameter, and if you want to give it, then it will become a menu. Okay, I will create that one as well in a while. And a row placement. So if you have more than one parameters, where do you want to keep it? By default, it will come to 1. What is the display size? I will just place the display size as 15, and text field size. Sorry, display label. I wanted to say enter date, something like that. Enter date, total employees, something like that. And the size is 15. And options, ignore user time zone. If you ignore it, then it will take the server time zone. If you won't ignore it, it will take the user time zone. So date format string is DMMDYYY. It should be in the Java date format. Whenever you give any dates in your data model, you have to give the date format in the mm-dd_yy format. Do you want to give any range between date from and date to? Then you have to offer these two. Okay. Then once you create this parameter, then you can go here, and again you can save it. Let me save it. Employee. So I would say it has query data model. So we did that. Then if we go to view data, then we'll say parameter here. Enter date tuple employees. So whenever you give date here, then it will based on the date. It will bring all the employees who hired on or after 5/1/2017. So it will pull the list of all those employees here. So this is hire date is after 2017 5/23, which is after 5/1/2017, right? That's how it is. And example, I wanted to add one more parameter, like I wanted to say that there is this employee has a location basically. So I wanted to say that the location ID, whatever it is, I wanted to say that, and location ID in, I'll say location ID in some, I'll give some other variable, p_location, something like that. It again, when you save it, will say that it will say that p_location is a parameter. Do you want to save it? Yes, I want to save it as a parameter. _location is a parameter. Okay. So location means we know locations. Location ID. It's actually location ID is basically an integer. So I'll keep it integer. Even if we keep it a string, it will convert it as integer. So if it is an integer, so either you can choose either values. So parameter type here, what I will do, location. I know location means in a system, in our application, we have the locations with standard actually, which we can derive from another table basically, right? This list of values can be derived from another table. Like hide that, you don't need to give it as a standard text. I wanted to give it the list of values here. So in that case, what I will do, I will say parameter type as a menu. So I wanted to parameter type as menu means it will give a list of values basically. Currently list of values are blank. So what I will do, I will define a list of values. How do I define a list of values? We have the list of values here. Click on the list of values. Then go here and define your list of values. So I will say the location LOV, I will say that. And again, this list of values is derived based on SQL query, or if you want to derive fixed data, you can give a fixed data. It's your choice. So I will derive it based on SQL query, and data source is again HCM, and I will write down a query here. While writing the query, again, you can rely on the query builder, or you can write down a query here, basically. So I will write down based on the query builder. So it came here. So I was saying we should always refer the Fusion schema, and here we have to work on the table basically. So locations in the Fusion will be stored in the HR_locations table. So I will just go here and I will just type okay, so HR_locations table here, and here I will say location ID, and I will also display location name. Okay, so yeah, I will display those two. So location ID and location name basically. So yeah, that's what my list of values is. So yeah. Here, now the list of values become, okay, so I think it should be location ID, I guess. So not sure what I gave. So locations is the display label, and you want to allow multiple selection. Yes, I want to allow multiple selection. Then you get checkboxes to select multiple things. And when by default null value will be passed, or by default all values will be passed. Null value will be passed means by default when we click on the view data, no data will be pulled up because there is no values are passed. If you want all values to be pulled when you click on the view data, then you have to click on all values passed by default. Okay, so yeah, then I do that. But let's see here. Okay, so actually I have given the location ID in my location ID here. So, and in my list of values, the first value is location ID, and location name, it won't take this location name basically because the parameter is location ID. So typically I should not give this. So yeah, we have the location values, so we can choose all, or you can select only few, whatever, and you click on view. Then if they have data for that location, then it will pull up. It looks like no data is there. I should have brought location name instead. I shouldn't have done this. So it has many values. Okay, let me change this. Okay, there are some employees in that location, probably Redwood City, and have this. So the parameter should be defined in this format basically. So
Lakshman. See, actually, end user may not know location ID, right? He know location name only.
So
I'll select location name, and the value should be passed is location ID. The way how we are doing in EBS table value set, we are going to give the value as the name and ID as the location ID, right?
Right.
The same concept we want to implement here. So how to do that?
So actually, he has seen this configuration, right? The list of values. Basically, here we are not giving a provision to give ID and description here. So whatever we are offering here, this is the configuration coming to the pass and the parameters.
Let's say in the query I'm giving location name also. So in the query I'm going to give location ID, comma location
that's
name.
That's what we have given actually. So here we have given the location name.
Yeah.
So we have given the location name here, if you remember.
Yeah. Yes.
So
now, yeah, I want to display name and pass to the query. It should pass as ID.
Understood what I was saying. So if you go here, so typically even then it is still basically, see here, it's displaying only the location ID. because if you wanted to handle the location name to show up in the query, then you have to modify your query accordingly here. So here, what ideally I need to do here, typically in this case, what ideally I need to do, I'm already doing that. We have the location table here, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, there's a location table here. So typically what I need, location one, typically what I need to do instead of this location ID, I need to say that location one dot location underscore name. I have to modify query like this, and I need to give it here. And in the list of values, typically what I need to do instead of this location ID, I should look at location name. That's the only way basically. So if you
there is nothing. There is nothing like ID and meaning concept, ID and name concept, because see, EBS, it is Oracle itself. It is not suggestible to pass the directly names. We should pass IDs only, right? So like,
yes.
how come?
Okay, so
this is the point.
Right, I understand. Especially coming to the reporting, basically in the BA publisher, basically that's what I observed. So I understood what you are saying. Basically, we should have the ID and meaning basically, so that we should always pass the IDs. But because whatever configuration we have seen here, that's what it is given. Maybe it should be an improvement. Yeah, probably. Let me check out that. So if there is any other way, we can do that.
Sure, Lakshmi. Yeah, sure.
Right. So yeah. So now we can see that now we are actually giving the location names here, because the location names coming here, basically list of values is showing location name here, and also in our query we have modified to look at the location name instead of location ID. So that is why everything working seamlessly basically. Else, yeah, previously we were looking at location ID. So yeah, now default everything is chosen. So click on view, then location didn't choose anything because the default value is blank. That's what we have given here. If you say by default all values are passed, then if you go here and the view data, then probably it will pull some values basically. So how we define the parameters here, based on that the behavior will be decided basically. If you click on null values passed, view data, and if you click on view, you won't be seeing anything until unless you pass some values or whatever. Now you could able to see some. Oh, sorry. Right. If you select all, it means null values are passed. If you mean select all, means all values are passed. That's what we have to see. Okay. So now we got the data here. So now, last time we have created through BA Publisher. Now I'll create data from my report here. Okay. Let's we have saved this data model, and let's also save some. Let me bring some 50 rows. And then save that as a sample data. We have to save a sample data. Now I am going to create a report using the Fusion given report builder, basically, not through BA Publisher. For the create report, once you click on the create report, then previously it will give us a trying stop, like it will help us to create the report. And by default, it is created using the data model that we have just created. And also you can create this BA report based on a spreadsheet or based on another analysis as the subject area. We have a provision for that. So as we are creating the report from the BA Publisher, BA data model, automatically that got chosen here. It will ask, how do you want to create a report? Do you want help? Do you want help to create the report, or do you want to use a report editor? If you want help, then you can choose guide me and you click next. And it will ask you, do you want to go with a portrait or landscape? So if you have more number of columns, choose landscape. If you have compared less number of columns, choose portrait. And also, do you want to keep page header and page footer to your report? Then you can choose page header and page footer, or you can page header. And in your layout, are you going to have only one table? Are you going to have only charts? Are you going to have both chart and table? Or pivot table and chart and pivot? It is a 6 options you will get in the guide me option basically. So I'm giving the table and click next. Then it will ask you what data fields you want to show up on your table layout basically. So here I wanted to choose, it will give us the parameters here, it will give us the values here. So here I would say I wanted to choose some details. I wanted to choose first name, last name, location, and choose person number and salary amount. That's what I want. Okay. Do you want to show grand totals? So if you want to click on grand totals, typically it will show the grand totals of the column which has numbers basically. As salary has numbers, it is showing grand totals, else you can ignore it. Okay. If you want to check down, keep grand totals, preview report, and click next, and save the report. So do you now it will again say, do you want to view the report now, or you want to again customize the report layout that you have created already? So in the case, I will say I will want to customize the report layout that I have already created. Okay, so click on finish. It will ask us to save the report. So I will say employee. So R builder, report builder report. So I will say that and click OK. Now it will open a report builder basically where you can create your own report, like how we are doing in XML or BA Publisher. So it got the layout again. It again give the layout with a proper scale size layout, and here also you will have provision to do whatever you want it to. Okay, so for the same thing, for the same report, I can also create it from blank. Example, let us say if I didn't create through the example, if it is the one that you created, if you just want to test it, go here, the drop down, you can see interactive, click on interactive, it will automatically opens up where you can test your report basically. Here you can test your report. So it has the heading and it has the data. So it has all the necessary information. This is for testing basically. So you can modify it as per your need, and the same thing can also build from scratch. That's what I was telling actually. So example, I'm just saving it, done. So when click on done, it will again ask, it will again show the report. So by default, no data, and if you click on all, apply, it will yeah, because we are in giving in higher date. So we are getting the data here. So once we have the data, then you can always export the data. Basically, you can export it to Excel sheet or whatever data you wanted to, and you have a provision for that. Okay, you can export Excel sheet, PDF, whatever format you want to. Now, what I want to say, we can also create it from scratch. So how? I'll go here, click on new report, and this report again I will choose our basis on which we are going to create this report. I'm going to choose the data model here. So I have created the data model for EMP query data model. I will choose it. This time I will say that I will use a report editor. Don't guide me. So I'll click on use report editor, click on finish. Then it will again ask for the to save it. We saved it. Now it will ask, so do you want to upload the layout and create the report, or do you want it to go with it? You want to create layout on your own basically. So in this case, you can yesterday we have seen uploading the layout, and we can also generate an RTF template based on our data model. You have provision for that one too. Else you can go ahead and create your layout from basic. And here you want to create portrait, landscape, header and footer portrait, header and footer landscape. So in this case, I will choose a blank, and I'll create everything on my own basically. I will choose a blank portrait, And in the blank PortWrite, I have a blank page now. Now I will go ahead and create my own report. Basically, it's blank now. Okay, it's a blank now, and it's a PortWrite size. It's a A4 size, so you have a clarity for that. Now, what I wanted to do, I want to build a report. To build a report, typically, what I wanted to do, I want to keep my header. Basically, I want to keep something at the top. Basically, where the header, I wanted to keep my image, company image. I wanted to give a proper title for my report, and bottom I wanted to give a timestamp, and also I wanted to give some maybe a link to my company website, something like that. So typically, what I need to do, I will do that. Okay, so you wanted to insert a page header for that. Let's do. I want to insert a page header. Just click on page header. In the page header, what I wanted to do, as I was saying that I want an image here, and then I want my report title here. At the bottom, I want timestamp, and here I wanted a link to my company, right? I have column 1, column 2. The first row, column 1, column, I mean, I have two. I am going to have so I am going to have I'm going to insert, basically I like to have here I'm going to have a header like this, where basically I wanted to have image, and I wanted to have title, and I wanted to have date and time when the report has run, and I like to have your link, hyperlink to my company. That's what I want. Okay, so what I will do, I will go ahead and I am going to insert a 2-column 2-row layout here. For that, what I go to layout grid, and here I said 2 rows and 2 columns basically. Okay, and this 2 rows and 2 columns, what you wanted to do here in this first cell, I wanted to insert an image basically. So go here and insert an image. So I have a couple of images basically, which I was creating before. Let's see, type. Yep, there are some types here. I'll just take it and insert it. So first cell is going to have my image. So I will just drag it here, and yeah, I have got it here. And what I will do, I will just drag it here, and here I am going to have my title. So I go here in text item. So it is my text item. So here I'm going to write, say, Rainbow employees report. So, and I wanted to bring it, okay. I want to bring it in the middle. Sorry, it's a little bit yeah. So you can do that. Yeah, I am going to see that, and I'm going to increase the size of it. So how do I do? So I will just go and increase the size of it, and I can change the color of it. Okay, so it's run by employees report, and in this cell I want to insert my timestamp. So again, what I will do, the text item, and in this text item I want to insert date and time. So I'm going to insert date here, and here I wanted to insert I want to insert an URL link. So again, I'll go here and text item, and here say that click here. For any questions, something like that. So I'm gonna have this one, and here I'm going to have the link, and here I will keep some. Okay, so inboardtraininginstitute.com. Okay, so I got it. So I got my header ready. So what next I need to do? So next I need to do create my table here. So what for that, to create the table, typically what you need to do, you have to use the data table here. Click data table, it will come up here, and here what you wanted to have, I want to have person number here, and I wanted to have the first name, I wanted to have last name, and you can adjust it because you're working on the A4 size. Every pixel size is important basically, else your whatever you're going to print, whatever you're going to have in the PDF or whatever, it won't come up accordingly. So format is very important here. Salary amount, and also I will go with the location. So I'll keep location here, right? So that's what I am doing. And you want to keep anything else? That's what I want to keep. And for salary, I want to change the format, the currency. So what you can choose it. Once you choose it, you will get the formatting here. Go here, and the formatting should be dollar formatting. So that's my currency created, and also the size. So once you click on this one, here you have the components and properties. In the properties, you can have the margin. How do you want to have the margins here, and how much you want to keep left, how much you want to keep right, and top and bottom. Based on that, the margins will be adjusted accordingly basically. So yeah, I'm doing that. And then number of rows to display. Once you display it in the output, how many you want to display. So maybe I want to display as
Actually, you something for the margin, so where it got affected.
So yeah, if you wanted to change the margin, example, let us say at the top, you wanted to keep some space basically after the header. So what I could do, so I would say, let us say 5 pixel. I wanted to keep some size at the bottom. I mean, from header to the from header to the table layout, I want to keep 5 pixel gap between the header and this one. So I will just keep something like this. So let us see how much we can give once we run it. And also while displaying data, and what I want to do, alternative row, maybe I want to display the data alternatively with some color coding, something like that, and that's what I want. So now if I save it, it will ask for the, now we have already saved the report. Now it is asking to save the layout basically. So remember this name. So we are using the layout when we schedule the reports. So I'm going to create the layout as layout. Okay, so now what you can do, you can test it. If you click on that, then automatic interactive layout will keep running it, and it will give you the data. It's just for testing. It won't have the complete data. It is just testing. So click on done. And if you see previously, when we are changing the margin, basically previously it was 12, size 12 is there. If you kept the 12, and if you do the interactive, basically you might be seeing a gap. It didn't affect actually. Previously, what has happened when we are testing, there is a gap between this one to the bottom actually. So now we reduce the size to 1 pixel. There is no gap between the bottom to this one. So let me see if it's going to get affected. Let me save it and run it separately. So I'm saving it. Done. So our report is ready. So this report has one data model, and report name is EMP R build report 1, and layout name is RB EMP layout. Basically, it has one layout. Before saving it, we can also add more layouts to our report basically. So before running this, like if you click on the view report, you could able to see the complete data here. It will ask for the parameters basically. It will ask for give the parameters. By default, it doesn't have anything. So I'm giving the parameters and giving some date. So if you click on the date and parameters, now it will give the complete information of all the employees basically. So it is a complete information of all the employees who hired after 5/1/2017. Let us say if you give more information, it will have more number of records. So if you wanted to, as it is in, it has more number of records now. See here, there's more number of records now, and yeah. So now the size is coming as A4. As it is A4 now, we can confidently give a print in a PDF basically. So as it is A4 and we are aware of what size it is coming up. And example, if I have this report, then I can go here and confidently say export to PDF, and I can export to PDF, and the PDF as A4 size works out properly. It renders the data exactly in what our format we expect basically. See that it is giving the A4 size, and with the proper images and the header, and so the gap, I'm just not seeing the 12 inches gap still. Basically this left, right and top, bottom actually decides how much space we have to leave between the left, all the four sides. That's the margin basically. So if you want to give the margin accordingly, you can do that. And also another thing this report builder can offer us basically, if we go and edit the layout, it will go to the report builder directly. In the report builder, there is one provision actually where we can, if you want to place the component appropriately, you can modify this one into grid ruler. So here now we can see the grids like this, and you can place the values appropriately at what scale and what place you want it to. Sometimes we want it to have it in invoice reports, like where the placing is very important. In those cases, it will be helpful. But still, I would see only the BI publisher is more comfortable than creating reports like this. So we can try it out, and but still, if you are comfortable, try the BI publisher only. Okay. Now, I was saying that for the same report, we can have as many layouts as possible. Example, let us say for the same report, if I create this, let us say I have the data, I guess. So I'll go here. I think I download the data already. So let me see at 9/7. No, didn't. So what I will do, I will just go here, edit report, go to this query data model, and then view data, and then I will just export this data into XML file and keep it with me. And I'll go here and I will just build a quick.
Lakshmi, is there any chance that users can execute the reports on the BI publisher, or directly they can execute the Fusion only?
Directly executing in the Fusion, yes. So most of times we do from BI publisher, or most of times we do from the BI server, but sometimes we do it from the Fusion applications as well. I'm going to tell you about that maybe after.
I'm talking about users. I'm not talking about developers.
Yes, users only. So how do you want the user to run this report? Two things. Yes. We can ask the user to come to this BI server and run it. That is one way. Or what we can do, we can enable the user to run it from the enterprise scheduler service, schedule process.
So we have both the ways they can execute them.
They can execute. So to enable it from the schedule process, we have to do some more setups. So which I'm going to talk about it in a while.
Okay.
Okay, and other way is to, whenever we create the report, basically by default, this report is not available for everyone. Only people who have these roles, administrator role, author role, consumer role, which actually comes from their job role assigned to them, it will come like this. So for some reason you wanted to give access to this report to some user, then
Yeah.
then what you can go and click on here, and you can save, and you can look for the available users here, and you can search for the user, specific user, and you can give access to that user basically. So you can choose all the people here, or I just choose all the people, or you can choose only one person or whatever, and those people you can give the access, or you want the access to, or you want to give access to based on the roles, you could also give access to based on the roles. So typically if you give access like this, then typically what happens, only those people can come to this BA report, BA publisher can run the report. If they don't have access, which won't come by default with these, I mean, these roles will come based on the job role, what we assign to them, HR analyst, finance analyst, they will get these roles assigned basically. So if they won't get access with the roles assigned, if you want to give a special access, then you have to give permission like this. Based on
Give access to a particular person or particular person, then the report can access that person and the admins.
Yes. Admins means, like this one is important. It means how we can define as admin. Basically, based on the job role assigned to you.
Okay. Again, admin with the full control, we can say.
Admin will have, by default, admin will have full control, and author means whoever created that report, that person also will have full control. And consumer means if your job role is assigned to a person, then any person assigned to the job role has access to all the reports. But if that person didn't create the report but still has access, then that person is called a consumer. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So that consumer don't have access to edit it, but that person has access to read and traverse, execute. And traverse means navigating the links, going this report to other report, all those things can be done for the consumer. So for some reason you wanted to publish this report across everyone, then you could say that, okay, even consumer can modify it, then I will give a full control. Then it means even consumer also can modify my report. That's the use of it basically. So by default, it will come as a read and traverse only basically. Only these, we will be giving only these two things to the be a consumer. That's how it will usually work.
Consumer is who can execute, right?
Who executes the report? Yes. Okay, and this consumer role by basically comes consumer to this report. Consumer to this report basically comes based on the BA admin role assigned to you or based on the job role assigned to you. Basically, for the BA publisher, most of the access to the reports comes based on the BA administration role, application implementation role, or basically which developers will have basically. And once the developers creates the BA publisher report, typically the developer will give access to all the consumers. By default, the consumers will have the read access. If the developer wanted to give full access to the consumer, developer go to permissions and then set the proper permissions accordingly. Okay. So yeah. So what I'm going here, and I will just go and drag and drop all the data here. And out of this, I don't want it to show the person number, date start, date from. I don't want all this information. I just want to show these things. So I click on OK. Then I could see here. Then I will just, before saving it, let me validate it if it's working good. Okay, I need to save it to do the validation. So I will say info 1. So I just saved it. Now, as I saved it, it's closed. Validation is successful. Now, as I saved it, now I can go here. I have my report already here. In the same report, I have already one layout here. I can add another layout here, add a new layout. So again, like here in this layout, I can upload it. So I would say test layout, and I will browse the template file. And the template file is the one I have created just now, the RTF file. I give the RTF file. In this case, what happens for this report? We have two layouts. We have RTF template in English, and we have two layouts here, right? Layout 1, layout 2. Then how the data will come up now? So if you click on the view report, then typically two tabs will open up, first tab and second tab basically. If you click on the first tab, you can see the first tab data. If you click on the second tab, you can see the second tab data basically. So both the tabs need parameters, because that's what we have. Data model level, we have defined the parameters. So parameters are must. So we click on the apply, then you can be able to see the data in the first layout. This one is the second layout. So that's how typically the layouts will work. Now,
Lakshmi, if you want to define the first layout itself with the RTF file, so
right.
Is there any need to do that? Because we need XML data, right, for that?
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I'm showing actually.
In general, in XML reports generated in RTF file, just we can run the concurrent program to which we registered as an XML publisher.
So that is right. Once you create the report, what typically you need to do? User has to run the report on his own or her own, or we have to schedule a report to run on a daily basis, whatever frequent basis. So in that case, if you go and schedule this report, if it is a report, if you go and schedule this report, then while scheduling it will ask which layout you wanted to schedule. So by default, what parameters you want to give? I want to give all parameters and enter date for employees. Typically, we have to pull out this date dynamically. So we have, it is the default date, and output, it will say what layout you wanted to run this report. RB layout or test layout, which layout you wanted to choose to run this report on daily basis and deliver to the user. So you have to choose. If I choose RB layout, then that layout will be running on that layout will be chosen, and that format of data will show up in our report basically. So what destination you wanted to, if you want it, as I said, if you want to keep FTP, you can do FTP. As we don't have FTP, you can send email, and I can say test one. I'm giving some email. An email, and that's it. So I'm just giving it. So here, this is the layout is the one which will decide what data you wanted to choose. Once, notification, diagnostic, whatever. So once you run it, now typically I should get email to this email ID with the RB the RB EMP layout, which actually have image. Which should have image basically. And again, you're saying a format you want it to the format of HTML, means it will go as a subject, as a content in the email. If you go as a PDF, then it will go as an attachment basically. So I choose as a PDF here. Now we click on submit. I need to give some to report.
So we have one more format called PPT, right? The output, because I think this is a new format which we have in Fusion.
Which one?
PPT format I'm talking about.
PPT, we can send it, but we have to test it actually. So A4 size should fit into the PPT. Definitely, I mean, for A4 portrait and landscapes, it will work without any issues. Yes, PPT is a new thing which came up in the Fusion.
Yeah.
So I am going to my mail ID and see if I have. I think I had here test RB. Yeah. So.
Got it.
Yeah, we got the data. So typically this email box won't be having the attachments. So I should have given the wrong email one. So I will give my proper email one. So yeah, so successfully completed. So let me open my Gmail.
there is no such rule, right? So we should create a FastCloud itself from the DA publisher. We can create a RTF file and attach it.
Yeah, we can do any, whatever we are comfortable with, we can do. So there is no hard and fast tool to use this report builder, this one like that. So I have my 10:25 p.m. I got the one created. See, it is an output file. See that? I have the data came to me. See, this one has a link enabled as well. If I click here, I could able to go to rainbowinstitute.com as well. So I have my report here, and user can use this report for their purposes. Okay. So now let's me go to one more example on the master detail relationship. How does it work in the data model and how we can use it in the BI publisher. So what is master detail? Master detail, nothing but in most of the cases we have like headers and lines, right? We have a purchase order has a header, and that is to be stored in one table, and order lines will be stored in another table. Or example, department is another first master table, and employees is child table, right? So if we have this kind of master child relationships, and if we have a different queries or different data sets or different queries, where one query is a master query, one query is a child query, and how do we associate those two people together? Example, let me take the same data model. So I will just copy this query. This time I won't use any parameters. So let me copy this query. So what this query is just, this data model is just active employee. So what I will do, so this master child relationship, two things. Either you can associate the relationship manually in the data model, or you can do it by your query itself. You can write down in your query, and you can do those things in your query itself. Basically, you can do those modifications in the query itself. Okay. So let me show you what I am saying actually.
Lakshmi, today is 1 hour and 1.5 hour session.
Actually, it's 1.5 hour session. Okay, so got stuck. Okay, I did the report and go to the data model and just get it. I will just get the query this time. Okay, so this is my query. So basically what happening here, if you're getting data from multiple tables, example, in this case, locations and employees, what I'm doing, I'm joining my master table here. In the locations table here, I'm joining my master table here, and I'm able to pull whatever data I want from the master in my query basically. So what if, I mean, if you are good in the query, if you're good in the writing the queries, you can do like that. But most of cases, what we will be doing, we will be having the master query differently and child query differently. Basically, two data sets. One data set for master, one data set for child. Example, I am taking out the location here. I don't have the location. Example, let us say I don't have the locations data here. Let's take it off. Okay. As I don't have a location, then I can't pull the location name here. So I don't have access to the location here, right? So let me take it off this this location mapping completely, because I'm taking out that one, right? So I'm taking the parameter as well. So everything is gone. So no more location here. So if I run this query again, then what I will do, I will be just seeing my data without location. So if I go here and I will go to new data model now. And I'm going to have a new data model for EMP. So I'm just giving some data, which is actually where this query won't be having any location data now. But I wanted the location name, location country, and the city basically, which is not available here. So what in that case is one data set. Now what I can do, I can create another data set. Sorry, here I will say locations and give a set, and I would give the locations underscore all table example I'm saying. So here locations underscore all table is a two different data sets now. It is data set 2, it is data set 1. So now if you go and see, you will be having the two rows now, one for employee information, other for location information. In the location, what we want the location, we want the location code, location name. We want the location name, and we want town or city, and we want the country. That's all we want from the location. Country. That's all we want. So along with the employee, that example, now if I export this data into XML file, right? So let us say I want to export an XML file to prepare my RTF layout, then what will happen? So I'm going here and I'm going to create a new layout, and I'm going to get data, load sample data. So okay, so it's my data. I have data. So if I go here and I wanted to insert data like this, so it will be having a two independent data sets. It is one data set. It is one data set. So I cannot give relationship between these two. If I click on G1, basically what it gives all employee information. Typically what I want, typically what we need, if you go with a master detail tables, typically what it should look like. Example, if it is like that, maybe out should look like location name, some XXX, and location country, something like that, location country, and location country is US. And under this, I should have another table, basically. I should have another table where actually under location country, what is the person number, person name, or whatever, person name and salary, right? So I should have like this. So I should have person names and their salaries like this. So within US, what are their salaries? Similarly, I should have one more for within the UK, what are their salaries? That is called master child. So if you wanted to bring that, if I wanted to achieve the same thing with the data what I have here, it should bring like this. So if I do achieve the same thing with the whatever data I have here in the XML publisher, it is a little bit tricky. So if I example, let us say instead of I wanted to have the location first. Okay, location first. Under the location, I don't want the whole thing. I just want to have the location, some location name and the country and then postal code, or like this example. I want to have these three, and under each location I wanted to have my each employees. So is it possible with this way of doing the stuff? Sorry. So I just wanted to have okay, so if it is the case, I wonder for each location, I wanted to pull the employee details, because these are two independent entities now. There's no relationship between these two entities in this data model. As there's no relationship, if you see the data here, let us see if you want to validate, let me save it. AMB master detail example. If you want to validate it, validation will go successful. If you go and see the data, only 5 rows we have. If you go and see the data, then typically what happens is both of them will come independently like this. All the locations and all the person numbers. I don't want like that. I want under headquarters US what employees are there. Under global ops US what employees are there. we have to form that relationship. To form the relationship, we have to form the relationship between these two data sets first. That's what we have to do. Okay. Before forming the data sets, what I will do, I will pull only only the required columns here. I will only pull the equation name, location ID, and what else I copied? Owner, city, and country. So I have to bring only, I want to bring only these things. Okay. So this is my location data set and it is my person number data set. Okay. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to link between these two. How do you link? So is the link should come from here to here or here to here? It is a master, it is child. So we wanted to print country for location first and the person later, right? So a link should come from here to here. Why I'm saying that, you'll understand in a while. So to link between these two, there should be a location ID in this query. So we don't have location ID. So let me get the location ID as well. Okay. So now I wanted to link between these two with location ID. So I have to link from here to here. So why I'm doing that, you'll understand in a while. So catch this one and drag it and link it with this location ID. And for safer side, verify this eye icon. It is linking by the location ID. It's absolutely what we need. Now, if we go data, previously when you click on the view data, you got first 5 rows of employee and first next 5 rows of the location, right? If you click on the view now you could see under each location, you would be seeing the person numbers here. See here, if you go table view, here you will see under each location, you will be seeing the person number, location 2, person number, person details. So now the relationship got formed in the data model itself. It is a parent, a header, and it is a line. So parent and child relationship got formed with the data set level itself in the data model. That is very important thing we need to do if you wanted to associate multiple data sets together, basically. So when it is useful, example, I want to create a data from the financial module and I want to get data from the HCM module, 2 different data sources. So if you want to pull data from 2 different data sources, you cannot do in one data set, number 1. So create 2 data sets from 2 data sources and join them together. That will work. And the second aspect, you cannot write everything in one query sometimes. Too many complex logics will be there. You cannot achieve everything in one query. In those cases, differentiate the queries, differentiate what is a master, what is a child, what is a main query, and what is that query is being referred to the multiple data sets. Create those multiple data sets independently and link with use between those two. Okay. So example, if with this data, if I export this data, that is if I export it, and if I go ahead and create another data set, another thing now, let me go and create a data, load sample data, and this is my latest one, get it? And now what I can do, if we want to insert it, see that now the link is formed here. Under G2, we have a G1 here, right? So what I will do, I will drag G2 here. So drop all nodes. So automatically the link will form here like this. Okay. So if you don't want that link, you can take it out here. And I wanted to make it in the form. Okay. And I will say like this. So this is actually ending here. So location ID, location name. I don't want location ID. Location name, country, town or country, and under this you can insert only this person numbers. Sorry, insert all the nodes. And here you want person number, I want salary amount, I want first name, last name, and I want yeah, I don't want anything else. Okay. So I wanted to sorry. Maybe one thing. So first name, last name, that's what I want. Now, if I say, okay, now I could bring everything into one place now. I have the person number and I have this letter like this. Let's go and validate it. So let's save it. Employee master detail 1, save it now. So it is successful. Now if you go and preview it in the PDF, now you could see under each location, see location headquarters US, we have these employees here. Location global US, in US Atlanta, we have these employees here. It is clearly defined how it came up. And even with XML publisher tools, you can use as many things as you want. Example, if you wanted to have the salary, average salary, and you can insert a field. Here you can insert a field of salary amount, and you can say calculation of average, and you can insert here. Then automatically you will have provision to for each of this group what are the salary amounts, and we have provision for that. And now you could able to even better you can group the data between the masters and child basically. So you can have that provision. It is the average salary of these 5 whatever. So now what happens with in this master child relationship, we could able to create any complex queries, and we can keep increasing the complexity, because typically this is what we do in the real time basically. So in the real time, we usually, as data sets is the only place, we keep combining the data from multiple sources together and create multiple data sets in one data model. And that data set relationship should be formed in such a way that we should know which one to which one the data should go. That is more important basically. If you reverse the same thing back, then the data flow or data population in the XML file will be different. So that is what we have to consider. We have to be more careful while doing this combination. Okay. So now, hope you understand this one. Now I will go ahead and talk about the other topic, which actually scheduling the BA publisher report in a ESS job basically. Okay. Let me save it for your reference. It will be so. It is EMP master detail. Okay, so yeah, I've done that, and okay, so now we have the reports. We create multiple. Okay. So we created multiple reports till now, and we created multiple reports till now. And whatever report we have created, typically, as I said, user has to come to the BA publisher and run the report, or we should give a provision for them to run the report from the scheduler service. So how do you allow the user to run the same BA publisher report from the scheduler processes? For that, we should again go back to our enterprise scheduler jobs. So when we created the ESS jobs, we went to the setup and maintenance. So basically, the setup and maintenance. So setup and maintenance. In the setup and maintenance, we have managed custom enterprise scheduler jobs, right? So in the managed custom enterprise scheduler job definitions for HCM, CRM, finance. So ours is HCM. So for human resource management applications. So here we could able to we should now we have to do, we have to create a job definition here basically. So we know we have created the job sets and job definition previously. So now we have to create a job for our ESS basis or in our BI report actually. That's what we need to do. So click on this one and enter the display name. So I would say Bob employee report, employee BIP report. So that's what it is, and this is the display name, and you can give the name and anything. Important thing here is report ID. This report ID is important thing which actually maps between the Fusion applications and the BI reporting actually. And another thing is job type. Job type, we have to choose BIP job type, and report ID should be the ID which is defined here. Example, let us say if you wanted to run the report, which report you want to run. So example, what report is this? Oh, it has 2 layouts. So I would for our testing case, I will just take out the additional layout. Create report. So I will just take out this layout for now. Okay, so let's save it. If we click on the view report, then it should have only one report. Okay, so we know that. So now, okay, so please save it. Now this one employee bill report 1. So what we need to do, look, go to the location where this employee bill report 1 is there. So it is the one. So click on the properties. In the properties, copy all the information from custom to BIP reports. Take that. And then append with report name. .xdo, because xdo is extension for the BI reports. Basically, we have to take it .xdo. So that is called, this is called report ID. So this is what we need to take custom to that one, and we have to make sure that is included here. Report ID. That will map the between data between those two. Okay, and again here you can give any name. So RB EMP BIP report, and path can be we can give any path, we know that. So we'll be giving the HCM what we have given before. I'll give HCM. So, and here job application name, it is ER HCM ESS. Okay, now we have this ready. Now what we need to do, typically another thing we need to do, what this report is taking the 2 parameters, right? So those 2 parameters has to be created. These 2 parameters has to be created in this parameter section. That is more important basically, because whenever we run the BI publisher report, it will look for the parameters. You take the 2 parameters. So here the first parameter is locations. So let me confirm the exact parameter name. So location and data type is string, and it is actually list of values. So okay, so we give a list of values. We have to give the list of values source here. So we need to create a list of values here actually. Okay, so so what we'll do, we need to create list of values. Okay, let's do that. Okay, before creating that, let me create this hide date as well. Okay, so I will give date only, and default format should be MMDDYYY, right? So it should be MMDDYYY. I'm doing a default value. Is it required? Yeah, it's required. So yeah, save and close. And then we have to go with, we have to create the list of values here basically. So to create list of values, it is little more, yeah, so what I will do to make it quicker, I will just remove this relocation dependency here. So what I will do, I will just remove the p location, and I will go to the query, and I will remove the location here, and I will save it. Now if you go and run this query, it should actually ask us only one parameter, that is enter data for the employees. If I give some date, we should be able to pull the data, right? So we got it now. Now what I can do, I will go here, I got the hire date, and I got the default output format, what you want in default output format. Let's say I want in the PDF file. Okay, save and close. Now we got the file ready. So once you have the file ready, then your job ready, then typically you can go ahead and run the job from the ESS basically. That's as simple as such. So default is PDF, but while running the job again, you have provision to what is it? It's still running, but anyway, it is saved, so we can go ahead and write in the ESS jobs. Yeah, it is there. So let's go ahead and run the job. So here I'm going to tools, ESS, and here we should be able to schedule new process, and here we could be able to run the job. So RP employee, right? So click OK. So now it will, when I click on OK, it will ask for the parameters now. And also you can give a parameter here. And also what it will do is it actually also in the advanced options, you have a provision to what is the output basically. Do you want it to do you want the output, what layout you want it to run, and what format of data you want it to print into. You have the provision to do that actually. By default it's PDF. If you want to, it comes as a PDF and you can deliver to the Excel actually. And also you can add the destination if you wanted to, which destination you wanted to deliver this one if you wanted to. And you can notification also. So it is what I wanted to show, the output basically. So we have run that and then click on submit. Right, so okay. So basically when I say calling the BA publisher through web services, so typically ESS is one easiest way to do. Register the BA publisher as an enterprise scheduler service. and run it. So that is the easiest way to do. If you click on this report now, then you could be able to see the output here. If you click on the output, you could be able to open the data, and the data will show up now. So see here, I got the data. I got my report here, and I could be able to click here, and I could be able to go to my Rainbow. Okay, so yeah, I think I could conclude it for now today. So tomorrow I will just cover the final topic on the BA Publisher about the eText templates and the position-based templates, and then we can go further on the next topic. Okay.
Tomorrow is 1 hour or 1.5 hour session?
All this week is 1.5 hour session only, Srinivas.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And actually, regarding that Sambas question, so we don't have, we may not get, or we should not get that with the location code or location ID, name and the ID in the LOV. If you see in the Oracle applications, we can get it right. So I can select from, if it is Chicago ID is different, right? So I can see the name, and to the backend or to the application, ID will be passed to get the data.
Yes.
So like that, is there any?
Understood. Basically, in the BA Publisher data model, I didn't see that option actually. I know what we have in EBS, but I didn't see that option actually. So I will see if there is any other way we could figure it out. As far I know, we can't do that, but let me check it out and see if I have any answer on that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Lakshmi.
Okay. Bye.
Hi, Lakshmi.
Hi, Pradeep. Yeah. Tell me, Pradeep.
Yeah, Lakshmi. Just wanted to understand now what is remaining. Approval management is remaining, right?
Approval and personalization is remaining. Personalization and customization on the Fusion applications.
Yes. And then one class on those automating inbound interface.
Right? So this weekend I'm planning for that. This weekend, Saturday or Sunday, around 2-3 hours class. Yes, that's it. Only those 3 topics are pending.
Maybe like by end of this month we will be finished, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. All right. Cool. Thanks, Lakshmi. Thanks.
Thanks, Pradeep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.